Hey everyone, welcome to Destination Truth. So right now I'm finishing up a book called The CIA as Organized Crime by Douglas Valentine. And overall I really like the book. Overall the book is good. This video is not a review of the book just yet. It's actually about a very specific core piece of content which I've commented on in the past. But basically I just want to help people understand what's going on in Syria. I think it's fascinating and I think people should understand it better. So I'm going to play some segments, a couple of segments from this second to last chapter of the book, because it really helps you understand what's going on in Syria, what's really going on. Okay? So I'm going to play it now and I'll comment later.
Has been paid to the role of Iran in resolving the crisis in Syria and bringing to an end the almost 3-year civil war in the Arab country. The United States has so far refused to accept that Iran should be included in the comprehensive international talks about Syria, but a number of American newspapers and TV channels are suggesting that Iran needs to be part of the talks for finding a solution to the Syrian dilemma. What's your viewpoint about the role Iran can play in ending the violence and unrest in Syria? Valentine. The U.S. has not discarded its plans to destabilize Syria and oust Assad. It never will. The equation changed when Russia interceded and began attacking ISIS. That led to a tenuous ceasefire in early 2016, in which Iran and other...
All right, I'm pausing it there because what we're learning is that the U.S. is at the core of the problem here. Because in reality, the U.S. does not want Assad in power. And so what happened when Assad invited Russia to help them oust the opposition is a genuine and actual attempt to keep sovereignty. Because Assad realizes that if he loses sovereignty of his country will lose sovereignty to America. Okay, so we see stuff like this happening all the time. It's happening in Venezuela right now with Juan, what's his name? I mean, what we've learned recently is that, I'm not going to get into Venezuela, but let's say, yes, it's true. The man that we're trying to promote in Venezuela as the guy that should be in power is in fact an American public. He went to school in the United States, for example. He has U.S. citizenship. Independent journalists have been able to find this. So anyways, let's listen to a little bit more because it gets a little bit more interesting.
Regional players had a voice, but it was an exercise in futility, as Obama was by then a lame duck, and John Kerry was viewed as giving away the store by the entrenched national security establishment, which will never accept any Russian influence in the region. Russia still attacked ISIS, and the CIA and America's client Arab states still armed and supported anti-Assad forces. Ultimately,
I have to pause it there, because you'll notice that Douglas Valentine knows he's talking to the world. He knows he's talking in the periphery of the intelligence community, and that he could get in serious trouble if he blatantly said that those anti-Assad forces are in fact ISIS. And what we know from video footage that you can find rather easily still is that yes, the entire organization of ISIS was perpetuated and created, funded, and supported still by the United States of America. So we want to get Assad out because we're trying to destabilize the region. It's not just Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, but it's going to be Yemen, Syria, and a number of other countries that have yet to actually be attacked. But Syria is still very much at the forefront, basically. And this is kind of a continuation of, no, I can't say the Cold War, because this is different. What this is a new war that needs to be articulated to people like yourselves, people that are intelligent and want to learn more about how the world actually works. But what's really going on is a war of sovereignty of real countries and their people and their rulers that they've had either ancestrally or otherwise versus globalists. So if we can get Assad out of power, globalists will definitely seize power there. One way or another, there will be a puppet or something, but we will seize power. The United States. And when I say we, it's really not the United States. It's globalists that control our country through propaganda and the institutions that have the power within our government. And some of those institutions are, in fact, secret societies. Skull and Bones. Everyone he's mentioned in this chapter, John Kerry, the Bush family, the Clintons, Bill Clinton, the Bush family, I believe all of them are part of Skull and Bones. That's just one example. Obama was not, but Obama, of course, is really a Manchurian candidate that was groomed from kind of nowhere, the abyss, if you will. He was black, he was communist, he was a revolutionary. And so the CIA has been grooming him since he was in college. Now, there's a lot of evidence that says that, but then, you know, the public doesn't accept that just yet because the mainstream doesn't believe it, and they never will. So what I just said is, in fact, my opinion, but it's rooted in some facts, and so I think it's the truth. And I'm going to leave a book review for the CIA as organized crime for another video. But I will say there are some things in this book that I disagree with Douglas Valentine, but overall he's very objective, factual, and straight to the point. I'm going to summarize one last section after listening a little bit longer here to this chapter, and and then we'll conclude there.
The U.S. military took matters into its own hands, as it tends to do when a new administration is waiting in the wings, and it bombed Syrian army forces, killing and wounding dozens. As it always does, the U.S. propaganda machine characterized this terrorist attack as a mistake, but the results speak for themselves. The U.S. national security establishment does not follow international law and reserves the right to kill as many people as it wants without any consequences and without acknowledging it is policy. Having said that, I'm unaware of the plans and strategies of Iran's ruling elite. I assume there are conflicting forces in determining those plans and strategies. It's my understanding that Iran publicly backs Assad, as does Russia, and that Iran seeks to help Assad defeat the rebels, many of whom are foreign mercenaries trained and financed by the CIA, Israel, Jordan, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia. I assume Iran will...
That's enough said right there. So what you just heard is that the globalist elite that mostly have power in the U.S., Israel, Saudi Arabia, those countries are the ones that are backing the overthrow of the Syrian government. And so, say what you will about Assad because of propaganda coming from the CIA, saying he's a bad person for whatever reason, but in reality, if you look at what he and his family have done for the country, they have protected its sovereignty, they have increased literacy, they have increased a lot of great things like, you know, plumbing, electricity in the country. The country is actually not doing bad. It was doing way better before all of this started, but in reality, this has all been perpetuated by globalist forces. And Russia, in this case, once again, call me a Russian bot, a Russian troll, whatever you want. But I'm an American, I'm a red-blooded American. And I hate to say it, but my country is owned and operated by globalists. And it is the Russians for the first time in who knows how long. But Putin is a good actor right now. Putin is like protecting other countries' sovereignty from America. And I don't know if he has strings attached where it's like, we're going to do these favors for you and you're going to do these favors for us. Knowing that he's straight from the KGB, but he's a nationalist patriot for Russia, I would guess that he's got a lot of serious strings attached. So it's not, cut and dry, he's the good guy all the time. But still, guys, what's going on in Syria is in fact a coup, a hard coup, not a soft coup, a real coup of the United States and globalist forces trying to overthrow Assad and the sovereign government. So, this is just a short video on what's going on in Syria and what's been going on for a long time. It's very complicated, obviously, but understanding that this kind of information is the reality of the world in which you live, and everything you learn about Syria is, you need to know that it's going through a lens of propaganda in the CIA, which owns the media. So when you hear that there was a Syrian gas attack, that was, without a shadow of a doubt, that was actually America doing a false flag attack to be able to shoehorn ourselves in, which is a way of forcing ourselves. It's like it's like astroturfing. It's like when you manufacture a cause or something. So, you know, we didn't originally have a purpose to use military force in Syria. We made it up. And if you look at why on earth would Assad use sarin gas on his own people, the answer is there is no motive. Like, if you really look into it, there was no reason. And he didn't do it. And that's what he claimed. And the media just skimmed over that because the media has to buy up what the CIA tells them to do. That's the world you live in. It's fucked up. All right? Anyway, that's all for this video, I guess. More on Syria later, probably. There's still new developments happening all the time, and it's already been years of interesting developments coming out of Syria. But I just think it's good to bring a current, up-to-date narrative to what's going on in the world around you and how our foreign policy is, in fact, entirely influenced by globalists still. And Trump is not... he is not free of strings from globalists. Okay, just remember that. Not that I'm opposed to Trump. I'm just saying, you know, there's no way to be perfect in a world this fucked up. So he's still like a knight in shining armor, in my opinion, because he's trying to save America from basically death and destruction, death and decay of the American dream and of a good lifestyle. So, you know, basically it's gonna mean America gets to have it good for longer, but eventually it's gonna suck when the news hits the fan that the US dollar is not backed by anything, even though it hasn't been backed by anything since the 70s, and you know, basically loses all of its value. And the US, all people worldwide need to start using things like cryptocurrencies to survive, which will happen probably in our lifetimes. Anyways, guys, I don't want to start ranting about cryptocurrencies, because if you know anything about who I am, I'm very bullish on them still. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it didn't run too long. I hope I'm not rambling too much. And if you think I did any of those things, leave a comment below. I love to hear what you guys think. Yeah, more later, guys. Have a good one.